My name is Ethan, and this is my 1986 Suzuki Samurai. Yeah, let's get into it. Holy shit! What's up? Starting at the front, working our way back. The bumper, I have no idea what it is. It came on the rig. I think it's a Petroworks bumper. I'm not exactly sure, but I always liked it, and so I haven't really touched it other than welding some tabs on for flat toe. I put some KC daylighters on the front, and they're removable on a hitch mount. And then three Harbor Freight lights, 2 spotlights and a floodlight. And when I turn all of it on, it lights up the night sky like a SpaceX rocket launch. And they work great. The winch is a little Harbor Freight special, nothing special about it. It's strong enough to pull this out of tough places because it only weighs 2,700 pounds. And I've pulled a few YJs out too, but nothing like a JK. You'd need a snatch block for that. But I didn't build this thing to pull JKs out of tough places. So moving on, the front suspension I built at home. It's based on these boomerang shackles by a company called Breeze, and they were from Canada. They don't make them anymore. But the cool thing about them is at the pivot point, it's a brass bushing instead of a poly bushing. And so you don't get the side to side movement that you would with like a boomerang that has a poly bushing. So they're really stable, and I can drive this thing on the street and not feel like it's gonna roll over, which is really nice. It's got YJ front leafs. They're 2 inches wide, and they're just stock 4-leaf packs. I built the YJ kit myself, the rear location mounts, and then I widened the Breeze shackles to fit the YJ because they were meant for a Samurai 1.5 inch. The front axle, I built a truss for it, but pretty much it's a stock Samurai axle other than 513 gears, lunchbox locker, and chromoly shafts. It's on 32s, STT Pro by Cooper. Great little tire, I love it. I don't want to go to a 35-inch tire because I like the challenge of a 32-inch tire. It really is. It's such a light little rig with a decent approach angle that I can get places on these 32s that I didn't really ever think I would be able to. When I run through these, I'll probably go to 33s, but we're counting pennies at that point. It's not going to be that much of a difference. The front steering rods are, well, it's a high steer kit that I got for cheap from someone on Facebook, but it's the Trail Gear kit. And I love it. It's got a big old like DOM tube or something like that, but it's threaded for the tie rod ends are for an FJ80, and so they're massive for these tiny tires and this tiny little thing, and so it'll never break. I was running a half high steer kit that I broke a rod end off somewhere in these moguls, and so I upgraded to this. The steering box is a Toyota, I believe it's a 1980s, mid-80s Toyota Celica steering box. And I think it's the Celica GT, or the Supra pretty much, because 1, I can't find anything about it. 2, I can't find a rebuild kit for it. So when I rebuilt it, I actually had to 3D print some of the seals, and I had to measure all of the bushings and seals and stuff that I put in it. And it still leaks. So, well, right now it's not leaking. I just got it sealed up, so it's not leaking right now, but it will leak in about a month. The power steering pump is for a tracker, and that's pretty much it for the steering. The engine is a 100% stock 1.3 liter little 60 horsepower from the factory. It's been rebuilt at some point. It's got a tag on it from the proud rebuilder of the engine, and so they did a really quality job and it runs good. Chug-a-lugs up hills, down hills. It's got the stock carburetor, and I smogged it 2 weeks ago, passed with flying colors. I really have no issues on pretty steep inclines with the carburetor flooding out. I love the thing. It works really great. I had to rebuild it 2 or 3 times when I first bought it, but it just works. It's very similar to a fuel injection without all the upgrades of more horsepower and stuff like that, but it works great for my needs. Transfer case is geared 6.5 to 1. And then with the 513 diff gears, it ends up having a crawl ratio of about 121 point something to 1, and so it gets really dang low, which is very necessary for a 60 horsepower rig. I have no idea what these fenders are from or what company used to make them, but I've been told that they don't make them anymore. I can't find replacements for them, and that's why they are beat to shit. But I love them. They look great, but they also take a beating. I've pretty much rammed this entire front end into some rocks and some sandstone and stuff. And it does crunch the fenders, but this is the only body damage I've got on it, and so they did their job. Moving our way back, there are rock sliders by I don't know who. Might be custom, might be a Petrolworks thing, not sure. They came on the rig, and they work great, and so I haven't changed them. In the rear, Sidekick tracker rear end, and it's the center diff, which is not ideal because I do get a little bit of driveline vibration, but it's got 513 gears in it, and an ARB. The rear suspension is kind of old, nasty, hog-washed. Someone did it in their garage or something like that. Someone did this whole thing in their garage, and most of it was me. It's got, I believe, CJ rear leafs that are longer than the stock Samurai leafs, but they're the 1.5 inch wide, so they matched up with everything. But it has these weird track bar / anti-wrap bar things that I've been told, and it makes sense. It doesn't allow the leafs to flex as much as they should, and there's some binding going on and this and that. But the reason why I haven't just taken off the track bars or the anti-wrap bars is because it also has these boomerang shackles in the rear, and without the track bars, it's very unstable, and I just am afraid of the rear unloading on me on a downhill, and so I've kept them on because it kind of limits the amount of flex back there. Shocks are Bilstein 5125s. Shocks are Bilstein 5125s, and that's the most recent upgrade I've done to it, and they work great. They're amazing. It's probably the most instantly realized upgrade that I've put on them because it rides quite a bit better than what was on. It had some Ranchos on it before that were probably for an F350, and it bucked like a frickin' Bronco. The rear bumper is, I believe, also a Petrolworks bumper, and again, this came on the rig, so I'm not exactly sure, but it's got the swing out tire carrier and a little toolbox mount that I made. The roll cage, I believe, is the Petrolworks sport cage or something like that. It's a relatively light duty cage. There's room for improvement in it, and so I plan on maybe tying it to the frame in a few other places and upgrading it at some point, but I haven't got there yet. Not a whole lot to report on the interior. It's got some bucket seats that are actually relatively comfortable. I don't know what brand they are. They kind of feel like they're like suspension seats a little bit, but yeah, they hug your butt pretty nice. It's got Cobra CB radio that actually works, and I have tuned the antenna and everything. Foldable antenna that I built. A custom 3D printed cup holder that I made for the Samurai. It fits in the ashtray. A lot of the stuff in here is 3D printed by yours truly. Rear seat out of a YJ, and the only people that can fit back there are pretty much my nephews, and actually at this point they've probably grown out of it because they're almost as tall as I am. And so you hit your head really easily on this roll bar. The rear speakers are from a YJ, or the rear speaker boxes are from a YJ, but I flipped them around and they fit perfectly inside of the Samurai. That's about it. That's pretty much a wrap. I don't know why I made this video. I'm gonna post it on YouTube, and that's about all I gotta say about it. I'll film some wheeling while I'm out here. Maybe. It's a pain in the butt if you don't have someone out here to film with you, so maybe I'll film some and you can maybe see some stuff. I don't know. All right, bye.
I bet you ain't noticed that. I took away my sight. I couldn't see my friends. I cannot breathe alone. You helped my lungs expand. Slowly losing my mind over you. Burn them like fire and smoke them like drugs. You like seeing me hurt, but I bet you ain't noticed that. You noticed that. You, I bet you ain't noticed that. You noticed that. You smoke up, then I wake up, get into it. I know that I'm a bad man, nothing to it. I knew that, kinda knew that. Don't tell me. I know that we'll be fine someday, my love. Slowly losing my mind over you. Burn them like fire and smoke them like drugs. You like seeing me hurt, but I bet you ain't